Hello and welcome to our Consumer Insights presentation, and we'll be covering Nike. My name is Elliot and I created the introduction, conclusion and highlighted some key areas of the commercial environment.
Hi, my name is Whyatt. I produced the learning and memory section and analysed some key differences between Nike and its direct competitors.
Hi, my name is Hariss Anwar. I created the perception slide with focus towards the market analysis.
Hi, my name is Whyatt and I created the attitude and persuasion section and also analysed key differences between Nike ad design and the closest competitors.
Nike prides itself on building an emotional connection with its customers, focusing on achieving rather than their own products primarily. As an international supplier of apparel and shoes, Nike has a diverse and wide consumer base, which also means more customers need their needs and desires tailoring for them. As stated in the graph, Nike has positioned itself very well in terms of the audience they reach. Not only that, but they also meet the needs of a large target audience. This graph helps to create an understanding of how many markets and sub-markets Nike has not only entered but also succeeded in. Brands such as Levi's and Old Navy, who specify in apparel, are outcompeted by the sheer volume Nike manages to reach in terms of sales. The market share is considerably higher than second place, which is Adidas, due to Nike creating subsections within its brand, such as Nike Football, Athletics, Tennis, and many others. While the previous slide looked at apparel on a wider scale, this shows a more specified market segment. Arguably, Nike's more fierce competitors are Adidas and Puma. The sporting apparel market is huge. The figures help to show this. Looking even closer and focusing on shoes again shows the vast diversity and popularity Nike footwear provides. Analysis can be done on Nike within a mass or niche market, but shows the diverse range within the Nike brand, offering products such as Nike burkas to accommodate all genders, ages, religious beliefs and abilities.
For the past couple of decades, Nike has remained at the forefront of their industry by continually pushing boundaries and blurring the line between being a sports clothing brand and a way of life. In 2018, the Washington Post reported a 31% jump in online sales after Nike debuted their Dream Crazy campaign featuring the controversial American NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick. Defined by Smigin and Piercentini as the activity or process of acquiring knowledge or skill by studying, practicing, or experiencing something, learning represents a permanent change in the consumer psyche towards a brand. There are two key sides to learning theory. Behavioral learning theory, which is based around the consumer learning as a response to changes in the environment, and cognitive learning theory, which focuses on learning through internal mental processes. Classical conditioning comes under behavioral learning theory. This occurs when one stimulus, which produces a desired response, such as completing a running race and responding by feeling proud and happy, is paired with another stimulus, the brand Nike, which does not initially elicit a response on its own. As seen in these examples, in all of Nike's marketing activities, they have been reinforcing their core brand message of pushing yourself and being the best you can be. Over the years, consumers have begun to associate sporting achievement with Nike, and therefore the pride and confidence that comes along with the success. Now when the consumer is exposed to environmental cues such as sporting activity where they want to win, for a huge number of people, the go-to brand is Nike. The link between the conditioned stimulus and the unconditioned stimulus can be made stronger by repeatedly pairing the two. However, overexposure to a campaign can result in advertising wear-out, which is when the effects of prior conditioning are reduced and finally disappear. Research argues that the first exposure creates awareness, the second demonstrates the brand/product relevance, and the third reminds the consumer of its benefits. Any exposure after this could arguably be said to be a waste. This can be alleviated though by varying the way in which the message is presented. Nike have demonstrated this well here with their Find Your Greatness campaign. By creating these separate stories within their campaign, not only are they able to avoid extinction or advertising wear out, they are also improving the chances that a consumer will connect with one of these varying stories, as they are more likely to connect with someone they feel they can relate to. Operant conditioning occurs when we learn to perform behaviours that produce positive outcomes and avoid those that yield negative outcomes. The learned responses in classical conditioning are autonomous, whereas in operant conditioning, responses are deliberate to achieve a goal. Additionally, whereas classical conditioning is built around the close pairing of two stimuli, in operant conditioning, the consumer receives a reward after the desired behaviour has been performed. With both of these adverts, the consumer learns that by purchasing these shoes, they will gain happiness. The Nike advert states that by using their shoes, the user will achieve their fitness goals faster than with some other brand shoe. Achieving these goals will then bring them happiness. The Adidas advert states directly that owning a pair of Adidas will bring the consumer happiness. The difference here is that Nike adopts a rational approach and focuses on the tangible benefit of buying their shoes, which is achieving your body and fitness goals, whereas Adidas adopt an emotional and more abstract approach by focusing on the way the shoe will make you feel happy. In both of these examples, the happiness is the reward. This reward strengthens the response, and the appropriate behaviour of buying shoes from these two brands is learned. Whilst there is no denying that Nike usually get their advertising perfect, they may have slipped up here. A study conducted in 2018 found that emotional advertising led to a higher attitude toward the ad, brand attitude, purchase intention, and merchandise consumption than both rational and combination advertising. As Adidas utilised emotional advertising, it would be expected that Adidas would be favoured over Nike on factors such as trust and affinity, which would be classed as brand attitude according to the report. However, contrary to what the study suggested would be the outcome, here we can see that Nike actually ranks higher for trust than Adidas. A potential reason for this inconsistency could be due to the sample size and location used for this study. The study was conducted on just a single American university campus with a total of 324 participants. Although for some studies this sample size would have been acceptable, when dealing with companies as large and globe-spanning as Nike and Adidas, a much larger sample from universities all across the globe would have been the only way to obtain a fair comparison. This is due to consumers from different areas of the world having different preferences when it comes to the marketing communications they are exposed to. Research into the differences between American and Korean consumers demonstrated this clearly, with the overall finding being that American culture prefers simple, direct visual communication and low-context verbal communications, whereas Korean participants preferred symbolic communications, like complex visuals and high-context verbal communication. Despite the cultural differences throughout the world, through use of positive reinforcement and positive associations, Nike and Adidas have been able to differentiate themselves from their three closest competitors. Years and years worth of repeated exposures has enabled the consumer to learn to buy from Nike and Adidas and strengthen this behaviour so much that they have got to a point where there is a clear divide between them and the rest. Due to Nike's effective use of the positive reinforcement and classical conditioning techniques, now when the consumer is exposed to brand stimulus, whether that's a simple Nike logo or a new campaign altogether, for most consumers an almost automatic response is a desire to push themselves physically and achieve their goals, which can only be achieved by purchasing Nike products.
Perception is the process by which physical sensations such as sight, sound and smells are selected, organised and interpreted. It is therefore important as a marketer to establish how senses can affect consumer behaviour. Sensory marketing is where businesses particularly focus on consumer senses and how they impact product experience. Sensory inputs can impact the historic imagery and recall events that have already happened. Fantasy imagery is when a new imaginary experience is created when exposed to the sensory data, and this is known as hedonic consumption. Nike can influence the sight-sensing consumers because of its white logo. White is thought of as a calm and peaceful colour that emphasises cleanliness according to colour psychology. It can allow consumers to attach emotion to the brand. The perceptual process's first stage is when the consumer is exposed to a marketing message. The marketing message will appeal to one or more of their senses, and depending on their sensory threshold, they will get attention, thus leading into a positive or negative interpretation. Here are the 4 types of sensory thresholds, and some will be evaluated with examples in the upcoming slides. In this example, the consumer is exposed to the trainer via sight of the product and the sense to feel the texture of the trainer. The sound used in the advertisement engages the consumer and puts them on edge, keeping them intrigued on what will happen next and stimulates their interest. Weber's law states that the stronger the initial stimulus, the greater the change must be for it to be noticed. Research shows that to attract consumers to a sale, brands need to at least offer a 15% discount off the original price. Nike offer over a 30% discount on these trainers, which will catch consumer attention. Alongside this, Nike released the Dream Crazy campaign that was a huge success that generated 26 million views and $43 million in media exposure in less than 24 hours. The message was for consumers to chase their dreams, and this emotionally affected viewers. This will lead to a positive interpretation for the Nike brand, as the brand image can inspire consumers to achieve success. This will shape the overall perception that Nike can help it achieving dreams. The logo at the bottom right of the shoe can give a gravity perception that is heavier according to research done in 2009. Nike commonly place this on most of their trainers, and this can give the perception it is made of good quality materials due to the logo placement. Adidas have used the same approach as Nike, and the consumer is exposed to a trainer via sight and sense of texture of the product. In the advert, the sight of the footballer catches the attention of consumers, and the sound further motivates them to carry on watching as if it is fast-paced, and gives audiences the impression that something exciting will happen. This trainer is also used with Weber's law, as the product has been discounted massively at a rate of 30% to catch consumers' attention. Alongside this advert, they have been promoting their brand with the Real Madrid sponsor this year, and this brings the brand a lot of attention as they're one of the biggest teams in the world. Having this association with Real Madrid Football Club will entice a lot of Real Madrid fans to make purchases, as well as football fans around the world, thus giving it a positive interpretation. However, it can be negatively interpreted, as rival team fans such as Barcelona may not want to use it because of the association with their rivals. Adidas also placed logos at the bottom of the shoe, giving the gravity perception and allowing users to believe that they are strong and good quality. Semiotics is a study of signs and symbols and their use or interpretation. Signs and symbols can be displayed literal, indexical, or portrayed with a symbol. Semiotics is an important factor for businesses, as they can develop brands that people may be emotionally attached to, and this can in turn lead to brand loyalty. Using Saucer's theory of signs that signify just the word Nike as outlined in this diagram, marketers have attached a signified meaning to this word. They have created the tick logo. The tick logo is associated with success, as ticks are seen as a positive symbol. Nike have used this logo with endorsements through celebrity sportsmen and women, and they have created a signified meaning to the word Nike, where people automatically assume it's a successful sportswear brand that helps with physical performance. As outlined in the diagram, 88.8% of Americans are familiar with the Nike brand, which shows that Nike have done an excellent job of marketing Nike around America as well as the globe, mainly through sportsmen and women and powerful marketing messages funded by its growth. People perceive Nike to be a strong brand that can change lives and stand for more than what their competitors stand for. Pearce's theory of sign has three important components for it to work. The object is the centre of the message, which is the product, the sign is the sensory image that is represented, and the interpretant is the meaning derived from the sign. In this case, the object is the football boots, the sign is the footballer beating the defender, and the interpretant is the fast speed due to beating the defender. Nike focuses its message on the physical benefits that the products can enhance. It gives the user the perception that the products will give them an extra edge when they wear them. Adidas clothing is the main object here in the marketing message. The sign is that they are here to create, and the interpretant is the creativity. Adidas marketing campaign differ from Nike. After studying most of their marketing messages, Adidas focus on becoming a more creative brand with more creative styles. Many of their products don't display traditional logos and seem to give the impression that they are focusing on finding new trends and innovating products. This gives the perception that the Adidas brand is adapting to the new needs of consumers.
An attitude is a lasting general evaluation of people, including oneself, objects, advertisements, or users. Persuasion is used in order to change consumer attitudes. Attitudes are flexible and can change over time. There are several methods which marketers can utilise in order to change consumer attitudes. Hariss balance theory is a theory of attitude change and is used to change or maintain one's values and beliefs over time. The theory's components include the consumer, another person, and an object, which are at each point of the triad diagram shown, and each of the components can have a positive or negative relationship to each other. Attitude is in balance if the relationships are a positive algebraic result, for example, a plus outcome, opposed to an attitude being not in balance if the relationships are a negative algebraic result, for example, a plus minus plus. If there is an imbalance, then the balance theory suggests that the person is motivated to change their attitude in order to remain consistent or balanced. Nike are very famous for using celebrity endorsements, whether it be through advertising or sponsorships. The athletes featured in this presentation are very recognisable and are or once were at the height of their respective sports. According to Hariss balance theory, they do this to persuade consumers into developing positive attitudes towards the brand or product. This is especially important if the consumer has a bad or no opinion towards that brand. Adding positive factors such as a popular sports athlete in the triad would encourage the consumers to resolve their inconsistencies. The example adds here of endorsed athletes Cristiano Ronaldo in the Nike Mercurial Superfly advert and the Adidas Adizero F50, which shows Adidas also uses celebrity endorsements, here being Lionel Messi. Potential customers may have strong attitudes towards these two, but weak opinions about the brands. So to keep Hariss triad balanced, they may have to change their opinion to a more positive one. The components of the triad here being the consumer, the product, i.e. the football boots, and the celebrity endorsement, being Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. There may also be people with a positive attitude towards Cristiano Ronaldo that may not be fans of sport or have no opinion on Nike. For instance, modelling work with Vogue and Calvin Klein, or through his charity work with Save the Children. By using him in advertisements, it opens up potential pathways that Nike can acquire new customers that may never have been motivated to purchase from them before. The Adidas ad involves Lionel Messi, another footballer considered one of, if not the best. Like Nike, they have incorporated him to be the main focus of the ad, whilst the actual subject of the ad, the football boots, not being made that important compared to the footballer, potentially hoping that customers will form their opinion on the product based on the fact that they are on the ad compared to the product itself. Both ads also go to reinforce the identification level of commitment, which suggests that individuals form attitudes to imitate the behaviour of people that they look up to or wish to emulate. Another area of consumer behaviour theory utilised by Nike is the function theory of attitudes. Originated by psychologist Daniel Katz in 1960, the theory suggests that attitudes exist to serve a certain function. It also goes to explain why a person holds a particular value. There are 4 types of motivational functions of attitudes, being utilitarian, value expressive, ego defensive, and knowledge. The utilitarian function works on the basis of rewards versus that to avoid punishment. It strives to achieve the greatest results for the maximum amount of people, whilst minimising the potential disappointment or harm. Johar suggests that the majority of brands stay true to the utilitarian function due to the fact that it allows them to focus on the brand's benefits and attributes. The example shown here is from Nike's Zoom HyperX trainers. The ad stays true to the utilitarian function by providing useful information on the potential benefits the shoe has for the consumers. When potential customers look for new shoes, some of their main priorities would be comfort and functionality. By spelling this information out to the customers, they immediately make them aware of what the expected rewards are that come with purchasing this product. Comparatively speaking, it was a struggle to find an Adidas advertisement with any sort of description on the shoe. Adidas tend to stick to signature slogans and sleek ad designs. For example, this Ultra Boost X ad, whilst being a nice ad to look at, conveys no potential benefits to the customers. A customer is more likely to build a negative viewpoint towards a product if it does not match their specific needs. So to avoid this, it is smart to display benefits like Nike have.
Nike and its competitors use a similar base marketing technique for their products. Nike, however, cleverly differentiates by adding a personal and emotional connection with its consumers. The focal point of their ads, for example, are to tell a meaningful and inspiring story. Nike is selling an aspiration, not just a product. By using emotional branding, Nike develops a loyal and trusting customer base, inspiring their customers to buy the products to help them achieve their goals rather than just looking good. Nike is a company that, away from the apparel and shoe marketing, gives lots to their customer base in terms of unique and exciting content, such as creating a Nike Football Academy, apps, and connectivity between its customers.